I love when you guys are showing your faces. Apologies for some background noise. Got birds, and I think some form of generator just kicked in next to me. So speak extra loud today. Welcome, welcome. I love that you're sharing your cameras today. I think it's so important to just express ourselves without caring what others think. More and more and more, leaning into it, more and more and more. All right, well, the background is beautiful. I know this is my parents' front yard, right? I'm here in my parents' front yard. There's the bellbirds here. Stephen, I'm in your state right now. I'm in New South Wales, about how far from Sydney am I? I'm probably about a 5-hour drive from Sydney still, 3 hours from the capital of Australia, with Canberra. So I mean the south coast where there's the beaches, but I just love it here. It's so green, but the bellbirds are so loud. So it's beautiful. I really love it. Reminds me of my childhood. I've been coming to this place. My parents made it their dream to retire here. They thought that it would happen later, and it happened sooner. My mum still works from home anyway, so she's not retired, but they live here, and I've been coming here since I was 3. So this has got a bit of a special meaning to me. This is where my grandparents live as well. My brother lives here. It's so funny. People always say, "Oh, Nat, did you leave your family?" I'm like, "No, they left. They all left." But it's truly beautiful. And for those of you, I know I was meant to do a call a couple of days ago, and then I just booked flights. So most of you know my grandfather had passed, and so here I am. I'm actually going to be leading the ceremony tomorrow, so I'm like the fill-in celebrant actually, to lead his special celebration. So I feel honored, and it feels beautiful to be here. That has absolutely nothing to do with our call, but I just wanted to share light as to why I had to move the call. It's rare for me to do something like that. Okay, well, how are you guys? Like, how did you go with the first part of this process in connecting, the perfect you, and understanding you're not the identity, but yet there's still elements that we feel we are, we are this version of us. We are this, I'm recognizing it more and more as like a mask. Like we have masks that we wear, and they're not wrong, but they're, oh yes, I'm a realtor, or I am, I am confident, and I am this, and I keep going, and no matter what. And so we choose to be this person that makes up our personality, that makes up our characteristics. And then that's what we think we are, and that's who we think we are. And therefore, when we're trying to change beliefs and programming, if we really are married to the identity, then it's really tricky to change the program, because we feel we're the identity, you see? So to me, it just feels easier when we remove ourselves. We understand we're not this version, but we've just been choosing to express that version, you see? And then what we can do is come back to who we are, come back to our wholeness, come back to the essence of perfection, and feel it. And you know what this feels like? This is unconditional love and acceptance for you. In other words, you're feeling about yourself from this divine perception. Your worth doesn't rest on your income. You're not less than because of anything outside of you. You're not less than because of your marital status, or you're not more than. You're not less than because of the body that you've got right now. Okay, that too is transitional. You're not, so in other words, your worth, this is huge, because I actually believe that very few people get to this place where your worth is not dependent on anything that in your identity or in the outside. It's unconditional worth, it's unconditional love, and it's unconditional acceptance. Okay. So what I've noticed on my personal development journey is that I would have dreams and goals, but what I would find is I would feel that they would make me feel more worthy. When I earn this much, then I'm going to feel better about myself, you see? And so it's constantly still coming from the outside to feel whole and complete on the inside. And then it didn't matter that I earned that. I still felt like it wasn't enough. Didn't feel like I thought I would. And then what I realized was there were actual times in my life when I went into the spiritual journey where I felt whole, love, complete peace, freedom, and nothing had changed on the outside. So I started to go through and learn more and ask questions. And really, one of the biggest gifts I have, I never recognized it before, was my ability to speak to a higher power. I can communicate, I can ask questions, and I will receive answers. And to me, it feels beautiful. We all have that ability. Okay. I guess in my life, I've just exercised it a lot. So it's easier to do. And what would happen was I would get undiluted guidance. Okay. I wouldn't ask someone for their opinion. I would ask what I call God, you call source, whichever word. And in doing so, everything would shift easier and quicker. Maybe not easier, because sometimes you're going illogical. It's not logical. You're going against what seems logical. But the more you trust this voice, what happens is your life unfolds in the way that it's your divine plan. Like your gifts, your talents, your dreams, your desires, you're actually expanding. You're not just manifesting things without the spiritual expansion. So people can manifest and achieve without the spiritual expansion. I'm not here for the manifestation only. I'm here for the spiritual expansion, where I know that I let go of limiting beliefs, generational stories, that I choose love over fear. Over and over, I choose light over the darkness. So I choose to expand, and in doing so, impact others just by meeting them, just by speaking, you see? And so this way, with the manifestation, to me, just feels like complete. You see, it feels fulfilling. It feels whole. Okay, I'm not saying just do the spiritual expansion without the manifesting. That too is a denial of your birthright. Desiring more money and beautiful things that you dream of is your birthright. Just as deserving as it is to desire health and love and peace. So nothing is above and nothing is below. They're all just as important. And this is really, really important, because we've got to get to this place where this is the first part. By healing your money story, which we're going to go through today, you are actually going to start becoming more unconditional with yourself, and recognize that when it comes to then changing your money beliefs, your income will go up. Okay? Your income will go up because now there's no resistance in the way. But we've got to not get rid of, that's probably not the right word. We've got to release the resistance when it comes to you and money. Okay. So I love this quote. Where is it? I'm just going to say it the way I remember it, but it's not a supply issue. It's a resistance issue when it comes to letting more financial prosperity in. I could say the same thing with health. It's not a supply issue that you don't have healthy cells because your body creates them. It's a resistance issue. Okay, so let's go with the money because that's what we're focused on. It's not a supply issue because your job, whatever way you've been receiving dollars, is not your source. It is just a channel in which you are receiving, but it's not the source. Your source is God. Your source is a higher power. God is your supply. So when you start to change your relationship with this higher power and you start to feel unconditional worth, like you deserve it, well, then you're plugged into source. Now, we then will open up channels for money to come through as we open up ways in which we provide service and allow that to come in. Okay, so it reminds me of someone who was not working and was on government benefits, and they were receiving, but their worth was in harmony with what they're receiving. Your dominant worth right now is in harmony with what you're receiving, but it's got nothing to do with your ability to open up the floodgates. You can do that, right? And so this person had to get to the point where they backed themselves enough to cut off that government, because it was a low income payment he was getting for people with low income. And he's like, but I don't want a low income, you see? And so he changed the way he saw himself. He changed his value within and started to express talents that he had already and started to circulate his gifts and talents that you all have gifts and talents. My question for you is, how often are you circulating these gifts and talents that you were given? Okay. And so now you can start to work in more circulation with this power. And then you still improve your money beliefs. Okay. Money beliefs is then the program when it comes to money. So beliefs like, well, I always have a lot of money. That's a belief. I can easily afford to buy whatever I want for me and for others. That's a belief. Every dollar I circulate comes back to me, increased, multiplied, and overflowing with joy. That's another belief. Okay, so too is I can't afford it. That's a belief. I don't earn enough. That's a belief. And so all of us, I'm not excluding myself, right? I'm not at the top of a mountain. No one is. Okay. However, it's ultimately about what your dominant belief system is. Here's the key, and I say this hand on heart because I've seen this in this industry so much that one of the biggest things is Jesse Itzler, actually, he interviewed some families that created wealth, generational wealth, like a lot of financial wealth. And he said, what's your biggest regret? And they said that I felt I had to give up what I had to have more money. And so they lost relationships, they lost things. And I want you to understand that you don't have to give up forms of prosperity that are your birthright for more money. Okay? You don't have to go give up anything, your partner, your health, like you don't have to sacrifice. You don't have to, that is now thinking there's lack. Think about it. That's not true prosperity. And I love that because even in this industry, if you're rewriting your beliefs with money, it doesn't mean you're actually expanding. Okay. And vice versa. It doesn't mean you have to stay. Like it's just an allowance for you to be in harmony with your supply and allow prosperity of every form that you deserve. So you align first. Okay. You release the limiting story, and then you have beliefs that will transform your life inside and then outside. Okay, so remember, it's not a supply issue, but are you hooked up to your source of supply? Is your prosperity conditional or unconditional? That is the first question for you to answer. Right now, you can feel free to type it in. Where is your prosperity leaning on? Is it your job? In other words, do you feel prosperous because of your job, financial prosperity? What does it mean if you didn't have a job? Do you feel a lack of prosperity? Okay. Is your prosperity leaning on your bank account? What's it mean that there are numbers there? Do you feel more wealthy? Let's say the higher the numbers are. This is stripping back. We're stripping back to actually what prosperity is. It's not numbers. But we've been programmed to believe that financial wealth are numbers. Numbers are just a mirror and sharing to us what we feel we're worthy or our value. And also the beliefs. Okay? That's all that is. And that's why, unless we're actively working on shifting this, we'll pass on the same program as generation before. To me, money is a healer. That's what I've learned. Money is a healer because when you work on this journey, money won't control you. It'll lead you to a place of more unconditional love. And then, yes, you desire things, but you don't need them. You feel prosperity no matter what's in your bank account. Yes, you improve your money beliefs. And so your bank account can go higher and higher to allow more in. But your worth is not dependent on anything outside. And this is why 99% of the population, and I would even go more, even people with tens and 50 million, 100 million in the bank account, money can still control them. In fact, Robert Kiyosaki says that a lot of the time when people start accumulating way more money than they've ever had, they can start fearing losing it. Why? Because they haven't healed their relationship with money. Guess what happens then? They lose it. So their fear attracts it. And we want to get to the point where we're comfortable with it. And we're comfortable no matter how much is in there. No matter how much you're earning. You can go from 100,000 a year to 1 million a year to 5 million, and it doesn't control you. Make sense? This is the work of healing your relationship with money. I love the fact that you guys desire to be here to want more money. Okay? Because there's a part of you that believes that this is your birthright, and it's true, it is. And your heart's listening to that. We just got to get all the other stuff that's keeping it, the resistance. We've got to release that. Okay? We release that. And once again, with the money beliefs. Okay? And then as you flow with prosperity more and more and more, as you feel prosperous, as you feel wealth now and wealthy, then all of a sudden you're going to open up floodgates. You're going to receive inspired ideas. You'll provide service, and you're not trying to become wealthy. You are wealthy. You're vibrating wealth. Can you see the difference? We're releasing the stuff in the way that's keeping you trying to earn more, trying to become wealthier, and actually allowing you to express that wealth already within. All right. So these are some questions. There is a worksheet, so you don't have to write these questions down, but the worksheet that you're going to do today is going to be inventory on your current money story. And you will see, if you're really honest with yourself, whether money's controlling you or not. And the truth is, it doesn't matter right now. If you can be honest, it will allow you to begin healing things. Okay, at least becoming aware. If you're not aware, how can you change it? Okay. And here's one huge thing that can come up with people with all of us, is that there is shame that comes with money. You feel not enough or not good enough that you're not earning a certain amount, or you don't have a certain amount, or you don't have certain possessions, the kind of house or the kind of car, like the material things. And so shame keeps money away. So this is really important, because if there's shame associated with the things that you don't have, and you might feel less than compared to being around other people who have things that you want, that's just giving you an indication that you're carrying shame when it comes to wealth, to possessions, okay, to things like that. So recognize it. If you just keep going with that level of shame, you can't let more in. So you got to feel abundant. See, we got to vibrate the vibration of prosperity and abundance. Gratitude hooks us up to our source of supply. And one of the most you can do is feel so grateful for what you have. Because that is acknowledging supply. Okay. For example, let's say your meal, that is prosperity right there. Being able to open the tap and water comes out. You can go back in a minute, and 2 and 3 and 4 and more water comes out. Not only is that abundance, but it's prosperity. And prosperity is a mind. It's like a track that gets most traveled, where you see prosperity wherever you go. And in doing so, you feel prosperous wherever you go. Your prosperity is not dependent on what you have, because in what you have, if your prosperity is dependent on that, and what I mean by that is like dollars, and like you're grateful for what you have right now. You don't need any more to be more prosperous. You don't need more food in the pantry to feel more abundant. Prosperity is an energy that you're tuning into. It's a frequency. Like love is a frequency. Prosperity is a frequency. So just acknowledge how does prosperity make you feel? You know, prosperity here, I checked it up on Siri, and Siri says it's a long period of peace. It's a feeling of peace. It's the feeling of overflow. It's the feeling of so much right now. It's the feeling of abundance. There's freedom with that too. And that is another track we want to develop in our way of thinking, is where we're acknowledging what we have so much of now, as opposed to what we don't have. One is abundance, one is lack. Oh, I've ran out of celery today. You know what I mean? Just that thought alone is lack. I need to get more milk. Lack. I need to make this sale. Lack. So this is an exercise actually put in one of the lessons in Love and Prosper, the coaching program, in lesson 8. You get a sticky note and you put the word I need, and you cross it out, okay, in like red or something. So, and then underneath it, you put I would love. And so anytime you think or say the thought I need, I need to empty the dishwasher. I need to pick up my car. I need, okay? That is a heavy energy that comes from not enough right now. That's not prosperity. Comes from like a chore, need to do it, should do it, have to, like, it's not think about it. Does that feel peaceful? Does that feel like freedom? And does that feel like a plenty right now? No. So when you say, oh, I would love to fill my fridge up with more celery and veggies. I would love to go for a run. I would love to attract a new client today that is in harmony with me. I would love to see this amount in the bank. You see, totally different vibration. The foundation of thinking like that comes from a place of abundance. Subconsciously, you're saying, I already have a lot, and I'm grateful, and I'm asking for this. So can you see that now your energy is abundance? That simple shift, if that is a habit and fixed, is shifting you from lack to abundance forever. Okay. Once again, that doesn't mean we've changed the program with money, but you have now the fertile soil to plant the beliefs that you want to plant with money. You see, we're creating the fertile soil in the subconscious now. You want to create an abundant, unconditional soil of worthiness, of plenty, of gratitude, peace. You see? That's why there's elements with creating more financial prosperity. It's not just changing your beliefs and having affirmations all day long and trying to rewrite the program if your soul's not fertile. So this is where I really want to help you create this garden in your mind to be a rich one, where you now plant an idea in there and it takes off. It's the shift that will create permanent change, as long as that new belief is fixed and as long as your soil, your foundation is abundance. As long as you stay hooked up to your source of supply and you don't actually get caught out in thinking that now your financial wealth is because of this job, is because of this channel. You've just allowed it in to come through there, through the path of least resistance. I had someone in Love and Prosper, she messaged me yesterday. She said she was manifesting a certain amount for the week. So she could feel it. She's like, nah, everywhere I went, I just saw that number, what she was manifesting. And then she literally had a family member put money in a card for her birthday, and it was that amount. And it was multiple thousands, okay? And this was just a little game she was playing. And she's like, I attracted it so quickly. And it was interesting because she didn't know whether she should accept it or not. There was stuff coming up in the receipt of it. And this is what happens. This is where we're going to do the healing work. And we're doing it constantly as we're attracting more. And okay, so it's not like you just do it and then you're done. It's a process of releasing more stuff that comes with it. And so it's interesting. How are you with receiving quantities of money? Does it depend what you receive? Do you feel it's good enough, not good enough? You know what I mean? Does it go away really quickly and you wonder where the hell did it go? Like, how are you in the receipt of it? Do you respect it? Anyway, so this is what happened. And then I told her some things, and then she actually said, you know what? I realized that I was trying to control the channel in which it came. And this is where we have to allow money to come from the path of least resistance. And some people feel more worthy if they earned it through their job, but then that it'll come. They're so focused on that channel that they've let go of all the resistance with other channels, and then it'll come through there. So don't feel shame in how it comes to you. But if you want it to come through more and more through your business, let's say, well, then all it is just aligning your identity as well, your beliefs in seeing yourself earning that, then that's going to alter your service, your circulation. You'll work in harmony with it. All right. So don't deny where the money's coming from if you're already receiving it. Also, are you acknowledging when you went to buy something and all of a sudden it was on sale or they discounted you and you're like, oh my gosh, you were going to buy it anyway? That's prosperity. Guess what? Your source of supply right there. So we say thank you to source and thank you to the company, let's say, thank you. But understand that that too is prosperity. Are we acknowledging it all? Now, there's a difference as well when we're working on our beliefs. So this is a huge one. I want to touch on this because everyone's in different financial situations at the moment. And also, you guys are working on improving it. So you never want to feel shame because you can't afford that new car that you want right now. And you feel shitty because I have to buy this one, I have to settle. Don't feel shame because you can't yet buy your organic groceries and you bought one thing. Okay, so this is huge. That's a sign that your worth relies on what you buy and what you have on the outside. It's not unconditional. So what you want to do in this progressive attraction of more is we want to stay so grateful for what you could buy, what you could have, what you do have. All the time. So if you have the thought, oh, I wish I could, bang, that's lack again. You're telling the universe subconsciously, I can't afford it. That's all that's going out. Okay, I can't have that right now. Lack. Okay, so what we want to do is, doesn't matter what situation you're in, you never want to put yourself in debt. I've learned so much about debt, okay, in this journey and how to heal it. It's a relationship. That's all that is. If you don't feel worthy, there's a high chance you'll get into debt. And also, another thing with that is if you carry shame, you will sacrifice a need, a fundamental need, with a want. So I'll give you an example. Like if you feel shame about you with prosperity, then you will put yourself, you will sacrifice one of the fundamental needs. There's a few of them, but one of them is security. You will put yourself in a place of feeling insecure because that purse or that physical thing will actually momentarily make you feel more worthy about yourself. You'll feel your worth is dependent on the outside. Therefore, you seek to accumulate more things on the outside, even if you don't feel secure. So on a call, if I'm speaking to someone, if I notice that, and I've had people that were willing to buy courses and coaching programs that jeopardize this fundamental feeling of security, and that was going to put them in more lack. And I would say no. At the beginning, I didn't know the difference, so I would enroll people. I knew how I could sell someone their last dollars, literally, because of how much I would fight for them and their dream. But then I learned what would happen is then if they felt insecure, then they will attract lack. So now with my current awareness, I will not do that. Okay, because I now have learned that if someone's willing to sacrifice a fundamental need, like love is a fundamental need, for more money, and a lot of people sacrifice love for money. Interesting. Okay, so not everyone, but I'm just saying. So this is huge because what we want to understand is that when you're worthy, this is where we release the shame. Okay. And everyone has shame. It's just being aware of it. And if someone goes, no, I don't have no shame, ego's in control. It's okay. You just may not be aware of it. Oh, wow. Yes. Like, oh, I felt less than because of this. That's all that is. In other words, I'll feel better about myself when you have the opposite. That's all that is. All right. So what we want to do is, as we don't want to sacrifice a basic need for more that will only create more lack at a subconscious level. All right. So also becoming financially free and abundant is about you keeping security as a dominant feeling. You see that? It's also releasing that feeling that you owe someone something, or okay, like you're in debt, like you have to, all right, repay someone something. So we've got to heal that too and replace it with freedom. You don't owe anyone. And so that heals debt. Okay. There's so much to this. I mean, I could speak for 10 hours straight and we'll go to another layer and another layer. And then eventually we'll get to the rewiring part, right? But there's just so much in this part that I'll be honest with you, I don't think anyone actually just taught me directly. I've self-learned a lot of this because of my own desire to attract more money and have more and have nicer things. But I'm very, very self-aware. That's probably another thing that helps me, is that I'm an energetic observer. I am aware of certain feelings and I'm aware, then I connect dots. Oh, when I attracted that, when I let more in, I was feeling this way. And I was out of my ego. I was coming from love. And it was a heart-to-heart conversation that led to attracting money. You know what I mean? It was coming from a pure place. So the worksheet today, I'm just going to quickly go through these comments and then I'll let you guys go. Love this. I would love. Yeah, that's a game changer. Is this like the having? Yeah, the feeling of having in the book, the having, right? So what will happen is, as you feel rich with what you have, like, oh, I'm so grateful for, like, right now, this coffee, you know, and it's like the first time you've ever had it. Well, now you're in alignment with the essence of life. You're in alignment with the richness, the peace, the wholeness in this place that's abundance, that's prosperity. That's that feeling of peace that comes with it, right? And so what we want to do is keep practicing having all the time, okay? And of course, remember, not just the things you bought, but then that interaction and that. But if you want to work on the money side of things, then yeah, definitely. One of the sections in the journal that I created, manifestation journal, is having. And like I was doing it this morning and just writing the things that I could easily buy and how that made me feel. Notice that I said easily buy. Okay, because I had to unlearn patterns where I would buy it at all cost. Because subconsciously I thought that using every cent I had to upgrade to business class meant that I was going to attract more prosperity because I was in business class. What it did was expand what was out there. Totally, yes. But then a lot of the time I would stay in that feeling of insecurity. And so I was trying to attract more from a place of insecurity rather than I could easily afford it. And in the having, right, Susan, because you got the book, and for those who have read it, there's the red light and green light. I always violated the red light. Like I didn't know the difference. All right. And so more and more and more, when we feel worthy and we work on this relationship, it'll be easy for you to acknowledge which one's red light and green light, you see? Because you're not trying to prove your worth by buying something or having something, which will put you in the red light. And therefore you're in lack. Therefore that's the energy that goes out, is I need this. You're actually circulating from lack. How crazy. Like if you look at that, that's exactly what's happening. From a place of not enough. I'm not enough. I don't have enough. I need that. And it's like this empty hole that will never get filled no matter what you get and what you buy. It's so important that we come from wholeness, we come from security, we come from abundance and gratitude. And I would love. And then there's this feeling of overflow. Okay. And of course, when you're working with me closer, I get you writing an identity list and you start stepping into this version of you. But at the same time, you're raising your bar. You're not sacrificing any needs. There's a difference. You're raising your bar. You're like, yeah, I can upgrade to business class. So you can do it, but there's a part of you feels unworthy of it. But it's not a violation of your fundamental needs. You see, you're doing it from a green light and a stretch, not from a red light. There's actually a big difference. Right? I know people that too would buy all in the red light. Right? And I was one of them. So I can understand. So it's a healing journey. All right. So I think that's really asking you this one question, which is not in the worksheet, is listen to why you want that thing. Like, why do you want that new car? Why do you want, and just acknowledge if you feel that you're going to feel more worthy about yourself with it. Is it an ego want, or is it a love, abundant desire? That's all. Do you feel like you need to have that thing so you can feel like you're fitting in with your friends? That's what I mean. Is it ego-led wanting, or is it abundance, wholeness, unconditional desire, love? But if, for example, you buy a new purse, you do feel better about it. Yeah. So one is improving. See, that's working on your consciousness with wealth. That's working on your beliefs with wealth as well, like the energy. As long as it's not affecting the subconscious feeling and actually putting you in a feeling of lack. As long as you're not it's not a band-aid. Does that make sense? Okay, so I know you're trying to understand it. Can you explain the business class thing again? Okay, so if you're putting every cent on business class, right? And in a sense, you're like hoping that the next dollars come in, right? You'll also constantly be living from a place of, how should I say this? Complete trust. Like you're trusting this power all the time, which is perfect. However, if you want to attract more and more growth in your, let's say, bank account, or let's say your portfolio, that also needs a level of security. Okay. It's like the basic thing of you're plugged into prosperity. You circulate from, oh, I love that. Like your heart leads, your intuition leads you, not your ego. That's all that is. That's all that is. So just recognize that when you're about to circulate, is it coming from intuition and love, or is it coming from ego? So I think I'll give you an example. Like when I did that, a lot of people were flying business class around me, and I went, F it, like I deserve it. That's ego. You see that? Like I was starting to feel really uncomfortable that I wasn't doing that. And so they raised my bar, but it didn't actually mean that my relationship with money was improving, nor was my income. Now, the interesting thing is I was always manifest the money, right? It was always there, but there was also this feeling of anxiety too. And so if you don't want any anxiety, like you want security, abundance, and overflow, so this is where I'm trying to help you attract more overflow, then what you want to do is keep feeling overflow. Okay. It's an energy game. So that's it. Am I circulating from ego because I actually don't feel worthy of it now, and therefore I'm trying to prove my worth? I'm trying to force my worth? Or does it come from love? It's still, you know what it is, Susan? It's still red light, green light. That's all the same thing. Yeah. That's all that is. Like when you shared an example of when your mom wanted to buy you a Cartier jewelry, and like it felt jammy, it felt forced, it wasn't, that would have been ego if you just kept pushing it and push, you know what I mean? Then you know what happens when you buy things like that? They break. Like they don't last. Like there's an energy that comes with it. You lose it. Like, so what we want to do is circulate from a place of, that's perfect. I've been desiring something like that. And so now we're learning how to circulate money. And so it always feels comfortable. I know that sounds crazy because there's times where it is uncomfortable when you're stretching, but as long as it's just uncomfortable because you're coming from a new money story and not from falling into subconscious feelings of lack. So remember, our vibration is what attracts. And that's why Bob shared this example of there's two kinds of people. There'll be one that can go and purchase a brand new car, like a new real estate agent, right? They're going to have a nice new car, and then they will attract the sales and they'll pay it. But just check, are they attracting it and then just kind of they're still in the same cycle where they still have lots of things. They circulate a lot, they earn a lot, but they're never multiplying their portfolio or this bank account, you see? So it's always just equal. What goes out, what comes in, what goes out, is that the vibration? Or do you want to come from surplus? Do you want to be someone who has a lot, circulates a lot to what you want, and multiplies? That's a different vibration. Yeah. And a lot of people, it's just like in and out is equal. All right. So we're just changing the core vibration of plenty in all forms. Okay. I hope that makes sense. Does that make sense? A lot clearer? Yeah. So because you're more relaxed knowing it's coming, yeah, of course, because guess what? You're in a place of faith and expectation now. You're not in worry and doubt. Okay. So this is perfect because this brings me to this quote by Robert Russell. When man can ask or wish without worrying, every desire will be instantly fulfilled. So what you're doing is making sure that you're not in the worry. That's all that is. That's exactly what that is. Okay, because that first time I was in business class, I had anxiety the whole time. I could hardly enjoy it. But then the second time it got easier so it's not that it didn't stretch me and I didn't benefit from it. But now with this awareness, I wouldn't do that because I just felt like I needed to go home like that, or it wasn't good enough, or like I wasn't enough in my circle. There's a difference. There's a difference. We can be pretend wealthy, or we can actually be wealthy. Yeah. And that's really important too. Alrighty. So I will send you guys the questions for today. And last but not least, I did want to put it out there already, and I'm going to talk more about this on Friday for Love and Prosper. I know some of you are already in our academy and in other coaching as well. And some of you aren't, those listening back too. So I have Love and Prosper 2 programs. One is a 10-week, it's actually now 12-week. I extended it. I will probably make it like 100-week, but it's so powerful. Like it's like this, but over 10 weeks with the worksheets that you answer every day. And then you get your journal. So it just is really a deep, transformative, prosperous journey. Okay. And then we have Love and Prosper 6 month, which is live lessons like this every week. Okay. Plus you have embodiment calls with me too once a week. Generally it's once a week. Sometimes it's a few times a month. And you have the worksheets as well. You have the journal, but of course, like you're getting more energy. You're in closer proximity. Okay. And that's for 24 weeks. Okay. So I guess what came to me this time is anyone that enrolls in the 10-week one, is really 12 weeks. The 10-week Love and Prosper, you will also be put in a WhatsApp group with any person in Love and Prosper as your community. So you will receive extra support. And for those in the live that want to do the 6 month, you will have a discount of $1,000. Okay, because it's usually 10,000. It'd be 9,000. And if it's payment plan, instead of it being 11,000, it'll be 10. Okay, but you will be put in this group as well. And that's what I'm putting out there. It is like essentially like Perfect and Prosperous You, just longer. Okay, and with the worksheets actually a bit different too. Like the ones I gave you weren't from the actual workbook. I created them for this event, and you continue to go deeper with the other worksheets. The worksheets is what does the shifting. I'll be honest with you, a big part, not all of it, but there's no point gathering all this information if you're not shifting, if you're not becoming aware and oh my gosh, become aware of that pattern. And then you choose differently and you heal things. So I'm just putting it out there. For those of you that want that offer, it won't be on the website. So you're going to have to contact me directly and just say, Nat, I want to know about Love and Prosper, and then we'll go from there. All righty. I will see you guys in 2 days. You'll get your worksheet and bring your questions on Friday, my Friday. All right, beautiful souls. Have a blessed one, and I will see you then. Bye.